In the opening games of 2020 World Cup the other night, while the Aussies play the third and final 2020 match against South Africa today in Cape Town. And Socceroos coach Ange Postecoglou has named a 23-man squad for the matches against Tajikistan and Jordan. Now the FiveAA forecast, showers and possible storms through the night, possible morning storm today, a top of 31. Possible showers tomorrow, another top of 31, humid and partly cloudy, a top of 30 for Saturday. Partly cloudy on Sunday and 29, then partly cloudy again for Monday and Tuesday, a top of 28 both days. More news as it happens on FiveAA.
Peter Godfrey on 1395, Adelaide's FiveAA.
It certainly has been a bit showery overnight, 17 millimetres the Bureau's recorded in town. Most of that through the early hours of the morning. We had about 5 millimetres recorded at 1 o'clock this morning. So the last 4 hours, it's certainly been coming down nicely, fairly steady too. So yes, the garden will be loving that, I'm sure. Temperature, by the way, to 21 degrees at the moment. Let's take a look at what's happening in New Zealand. Catching up with Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz. Been away for a few weeks. Selwyn, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Peter.
You had a good break?
Very good break. Did a bit of a road trip from Auckland right down to the bottom of the North Island around Wellington, and then meandered, after a couple of days, meandered our way back up the country, taking roads and networks that you normally wouldn't, you know.
It's nice to
fantastic thing when you haven't got a time frame to kind of, I've got to get from A to B in this particular time, and just exploring it. It's wonderful, actually.
Sometimes the journey can be as much of an enjoyment as the destination, can't it?
Well, this was one of the few. I was thinking back at the time. I was thinking, I'm actually enjoying this. You know, usually you're thinking, I can't wait to get to the spot and just chill out. But that was great.
Oh, really wonderful! Very recharge the batteries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah. Hey, got an unfolding situation over there at the moment. A siege happening in New Zealand. What can you tell us?
Yes, that's right, Peter. Late yesterday afternoon, a gunman alleged. 4 police officers have been shot, a couple of them in serious condition but stable in hospital, no fatalities. But that siege it remains overnight, and it still remains right at the moment, and police armed defenders units are at the scene. It's around Bay of Plenty, just south of the Tauranga area, and there has been communication with the gunman overnight, but no breakthroughs as such. And as I understand it, there's around about 20 to 30 family members that are at the police cordon trying to get police to agree that at least one of them speak directly with their relative.
Is it known what's sorry, go on.
And only a matter of minutes ago, I understand that police light armoured vehicle, 2 of them, arrived at the scene and were moving closer to a farmhouse of where the gunman is believed to be inside. Okay.
Not known what sparked the standoff? What?
No, the New Zealand Herald has just reported matter of minutes ago that the mother of the gunman believes that the police are responsible for this, but details of that are a little bit sketchy at the moment.
Okay.
What we do know is that yesterday police had a vehicle, an aircraft that was flying around the area trying to spot cannabis plantations, and it's believed that the man involved here in this siege was shooting at the aircraft above.
Okay.
And that sparked, obviously, a police turnout and armed defenders call out yesterday afternoon, around about 4 p.m. in the afternoon, Peter.
Okay, so fairly long-standing thing. So you said, 4 police officers have been shot, but no fatalities?
No fatalities.
Okay, is it serious injuries or anything like that? Is it?
Yeah, 2 were more serious than others. All admitted into hospital, of course. But the latest reports from the hospital is that all of the police officers are stable.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. All right, well, let's hope it is resolved, peacefully and there's no fatalities at all. Yeah. All right. Had a question too, Ted, just wanting to know, what's the current unemployment rate in New Zealand? Have you got figures on that at the moment?
Yes, I have. Just brought them up, Peter, and the latest unemployment rate is sitting at, according to Statistics New Zealand, is sitting at around about 5.8%. Now, that's been tracking down since 2012. The lowest point in recent times is going back to 2007, and that was around 3.7% unemployment rate.
Okay.
And since the global financial crisis kicked in, 2008, that nudged up to 4.2. Then, well, when the global financial crisis really bedded in, it went up to 6.1, peaked in 2012 at 6.9, and just tracking down slightly. And as I said at the beginning, there 5.8 currently.
5.8. Okay, well, you're doing better than we are here in South Australia. Yeah. Well,
just from interest, what is it?
I should have looked that up too. We were about 6.5. I'll have to look that up myself as well. But I think we're up around 6.5 or thereabouts. That's the South Australian figure.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the worst one, according to Statistics New Zealand, in our modern times, was going back to 1992, and it was at 7.7%. Oh, sorry, 10.7%. 10.7.
Okay, yeah. Gee. Okay. Our 6.8, there it is at January this year. 6.8.
Yeah, it's a tad high, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's come down a little bit from what we were.
Is that a consequence of your manufacturing sector having been under stress?
Yeah. Mostly, a big part of it is that, yeah. And it's we're staring down the barrel of more of that soon, so whether that's going to rise more, we'll have to wait and see. On to other things in your part of the world. Now, we've spoken often about some of the issues regarding spy laws, possibly some more intrusive spy laws coming for New Zealand.
Yeah, that's right, Peter. Now, the government's considering recommendations that have been lodged from former Deputy Prime Minister and also a lawyer. And the government's intention is to embark on designing a new way of spy law reform here in New Zealand. Now, again, it looks certain to drive a wedge into New Zealand society here, really. On one side are those that support and trust the government to get the balance right between security intelligence and civil liberties. And then there's the other side of New Zealand that says we don't trust the government to get this right, and actually we don't like the government prying into having the ability to surveil and target New Zealanders in such a robust way. Now, previous polls on exactly that kind of question, Peter, they pretty much come in around suggesting that there's about a 50-50 split for the government and against the government's moves in this spy and surveillance area. Now, getting back to this report, it was made public yesterday, Peter, but it was tabled to the government back on February, around February the 9th.
Okay.
29th, that should be, 29th, it was about just over 10 days ago. Yeah. And it was kept under wraps, like I was saying, until yesterday on March 9. It's titled Intelligence and Security in a Free Society, and it was written, as I mentioned, Deputy Prime Minister, that's Sir Michael Cullen. He was the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister under the Clark-led governments up until about 2005, and then Finance Minister right through the Clark government terms in the 2000s there. And also the other person who's the co-writer of the report is Dame Patsy Reddy, and she's a lawyer with corporate experience. Now, the government actually solicited this report, wanted these two individuals to do a robust examination of the New Zealand spy apparatus, its spy legislation, its laws, and to see how it was working in that sense, not necessarily on how good the spies were at actually digging up intelligence, but more on the legislative framework kind of thing. But while it sounds very dry, there is a number of areas that are significant in what's going to likely change here. The government, meaning the Prime Minister, had already indicated late last year, Peter, and I think we might have mentioned on your bulletin at one stage that there was an intention to crack down on different areas in New Zealand, one being encrypted communications. The Prime Minister was obviously flagging that up. Now, there's been no mention so much as recommendations of changing in the operational areas in this report in that particular band thing. But what the Sir Michael and Dame Patsy report is recommending is the law be redrafted and brought under one single Intelligence and Security Act, because at the moment there's quite a number. I think it's similar in Australia. There's quite a number of different laws that are applying here. And the main parts here that would changed, including reform of how targeted surveillance is authorised against New Zealanders and permanent residents. And this would be called a Tier 1 authorisation. This is basically when, the spies want to target a particular individual. And if it's a New Zealander or a permanent resident, there are certain, blocks and things like that they have to go through a warrant here. Now, what this report is doing is it's recommending there be 3 stages of authorisation. The first one, like that, targeting a New Zealander or a permanent resident, they have to then get the Attorney General and a Judicial Commissioner to authorise that particular type of surveillance. Then there's the covert spying and intelligence gathering activities. So that's basically how they would be authorised. Now, they're referring to it as Tier 2, which is an authorisation that would require the sign-off of just the Attorney General. And then there is all of the spying and surveillance that would go on in a public place and that type of thing. Tier 3, considered in this report, is pretty lowbrow and okay. That's when your spooks would basically be recording everything you say and taking video surveillance and mapping you and following you and all of that type of thing when you're out and about. And all that requires is a general statement from the Attorney General, so it's a blanket type authorisation. So even if you're a Kiwi in New Zealand and you're out and about, it'll be much easier for the spies to basically track and follow you. This is obviously a response. It was mentioned about Australia's heightened sensitivities in the anti-terror area, and the examples of which have occurred in Australia over recent years. And so New Zealand is obviously sitting here and thinking, well, we're not immune to this type of thing either. Our communities of concern are smaller than they are in Australia, but certainly our legislative framework needs to actually get better at doing what it's doing. There's also, what is suggested here is bringing into our spy agencies, like you would have heard me talk about the Government Communications Security Bureau or the GCSB in the past. It's illegal spying, etc., that it did back prior to 2013. All of that with the New Zealand SIS, which is like your ACO, would come under one umbrella. Okay. And the oversight has been a big deal, Peter, that we've discussed here in this country very, very, very regularly, particularly after the government spy agency, the GCSB, was seen to have been and found to have been acting illegally. Now, that oversight is certainly not getting the attention one would expect in this report. Remember, this is a report, it's not the proposed draft legislation, but certainly there are concerns in some quarters that there is no suggestion of significant oversight in this report at all, apart from increasing the scope, if you like, of the Inspector General of Intelligence, who can investigate whether or not the spy agencies or spies themselves have been doing it right. But all it does here is suggest that serious operations or sensitive operations come under the scope of the Inspector General there. So that's one step further, but certainly doesn't even suggest increasing the budget for the office, which is always under pressure. And also, the parliamentary body of oversight committee, if you want to call it that. At the moment, you've got a handful of MPs, and all it's doing is suggesting that the minimum be 5 politicians and increasing that up to a maximum of 7 politicians. And that's it as far as oversight's concerned, Peter.
Okay. That would be an issue. You'd be thinking you'd want a little bit more oversight, surely.
Well, certainly, that's where there's going to be a lot of criticism once this all sinks into the public. This was released late yesterday, yes, and a lot of people are digesting that New Zealand Herald. They've got a significant journalist there who has been reporting on this, and certainly some of the criticisms that are coming through there in the opinion piece that the Herald put out on this is suggesting that that's a weak spot as well. Now, the government, I think the public has got justifiable concerns on this in some ways, Peter, in the sense that, just remember back that when it was discovered under, it's all around the Kim.com investigation and the targeted surveillance on Kim.com as a permanent resident of New Zealand, it was found that the GCSB spy agency here in New Zealand was acting illegally. The public believed that it was doing so at the behest of the FBI, United States Federal Investigative Bruro, of course, and all of this type of thing left a very sour taste in the mouth. And when it was investigated into, it was found that the GCSB had been acting illegally in quite a number of cases. Between 44 and 88 cases fell into the scope of illegal activities. So with all of this, what the government did at that stage was basically it created the Prime Minister. It was all under his particular watch as the governor of that particular area, and all the government did was change the law to make the illegal activities legal, and then even rub salt into people's eyes or wounds a little bit more, Peter, by suggesting that any misdemeanours, that the new law that made it legal was retrospective, so any previous misdemeanours of the GCSB could be considered legal from that point on. So you can understand the public's intolerance to such shenanigans, if you want to put it that way.
Good word, shenanigans, indeed. Yeah. All right, so we'll just have a quick break. We'll come back with some more of the happenings in your part of the world across the ditch in New Zealand. Be right back with you, Selwyn. Selwyn Manning is the editor of EveningReport.nz.
5AA Breakfast.
The Riley family are in mourning today because yesterday Angel passed away. Angel is a cat, 101 human years. Angel almost got to be the oldest cat.
The record holder. Didn't smoke.
Nah, she chased.
Did exercise?
She hung out with a few rats.
Ate a lot of kale. Only had one glass of Shiraz a day.
5AA Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6 on 1395. Adelaide's 5AA.
Are you dreaming of gorgeous Venetian blinds or plantation shutters? Are you waiting to take advantage of a sale price? The Wood Blinds Factory has Adelaide's best price on blinds and shutters. We checked, and you'll pay from 10 to 20% less at Wood Blinds Factory. And if someone says they can beat that, tell us, because we'll beat written quotes by 10%. The Wood Blinds Factory, best price guarantee on blinds and shutters. 8377 5200 or visit woodblinds.com.au. Conditions apply.
If I listed off half of what you'll find at Browse In and Save, I'd be talking for 3 days. Because SA's favourite discount variety stores are absolutely chock-stocked with loads of Easter products. Shelf upon shelf of cards, gifts, treats, disposable plates, napkins, plus, of course, a great range of Cadbury chocolate products, all at ridiculous prices. So don't pay supermarket prices. Do yourself and your budget a favour at Browse In and Save. 13 stores.
At Pain Away, it's about the pain. The whole pain and nothing but the pain. It's now easier to use Pain Away when you're on the go with the new Pain Away Pain Relief Roll-On Lotion. It doesn't matter where you are, at the beach, the golf course, the bowling green, even on holidays, everyday Australians to elite professional athletes are now using our easy-to-apply Pain Away Pain Relief Roll-On Lotion.
Pain Away Pain Relief Roll-On Lotion is available in all leading pharmacies.
It's pain relief for when you're on the go.
Always read the label. Use only as directed, and if symptoms persist, see your healthcare professional.
Right now, there's an urgent need for foster carers in your community. Life Without Barriers is seeking compassionate, nurturing people to become foster carers. You can be single or living with a partner, with or without your own children. We offer excellent training, 24/7 support, and tax-free financial reimbursement. Welcome a child into your family and your life. Become a foster carer with Life Without Barriers. Call us on 8415 6900 or visit lwb.org.au.
What advice do you have about moving to a Lifestyle SA community?
The writing was on the wall that life was beginning to change.
It's given my husband an extra 5 years of life, he says, my husband says.
And the only regret we've had that we left it too long to come in. If we'd been a bit earlier, we could have enjoyed it a bit longer. So you just got to enjoy what you can while you can. And it's a great place to do it. We love it.
Don't leave it too late. Call Roxanne and organise a tour of one of our 11 Lifestyle SA communities. lifestylesa.com.au.
If you're after a forklift that leads the way in quality, reliability and productivity, then Toyota Material Handling has the right forklift solution for you. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a massive range from pallet trucks, stackers and order pickers to their market-leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. For new and used sales, short or long-term hire and all servicing, let Toyota Material Handling tailor the right forklift solution for your business. It's all part of the Toyota advantage. Call 1800 425 438 or hit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Peter Godfrey, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
And we're taking a look at things happening across the ditch in New Zealand. Selwyn Manning with us, editor of EveningReport.nz. Selwyn, I did just bring up your website there. Sitting there on the front page, Clark and Door. You've got them on there as well. Oh, they're good, aren't they?
Look,
and we claim them as our own, but we know they're yours.
Well, Mr. Clark is certainly from New Zealand. He was formerly Fred Dagg when he was over here.
Yeah.
Which was just a phenomenon here in New Zealand. So I think we still enjoy, Peter, it's one of the gateways into understanding Australian politics is watching Clark and Dawes.
Is it ever? It's
fantastic.
Worth having a look at, yeah. Hey, a couple of things before we get on to the really serious topic for this morning. Now, your referendum's underway for the regarding your flag?
Yes, it is, Peter. So the voting papers have all been delivered as we understand it. There's been a little... so voting started for this final and binding result on the 3rd of March. So it's been going for a little bit over a week now. Yeah. And that postal vote finishes on the 24th of March. So a little bit to go. So people have still got time to send their view in. And it looks like, as we were talking about last time, the recent polls are suggesting that there is a lift in support for the changing the flag.
Okay.
But not enough at this stage to suggest that there's going to be a change. So the current one looks like it'll probably end up winning.
Okay.
Now, with all of this, the UMR pollsters, which often do polling on behalf of the Labour Party here in New Zealand, they also asked the question, basically the question came down to, for those who are going to vote against the new option, the new proposed flag, do you just do not like that particular flag, or would you vote for another one if you were happy with the offerings? That kind of question. And it came back quite a significant amount of people saying, if it was a flag that we actually agreed with and the process was robust, we'd vote for a change for sure.
Okay.
So that clouds. I think Labour Party will be watching that very closely, and it will be thinking to itself, well, when and if we ever get back into power, we will feel justified in putting this flag vote up with a different process and a different type of flag option.
Okay.
But at this stage, not trying to preempt
anything.
Preempt anything here, Peter. Thanks for that. But certainly, it does look like the current New Zealand flag, which has one star less than the Australian flag, of course, that will most likely remain.
Okay.
But you never can tell.
You never can tell. All right. Now, on to the really big topic this morning. Just when you thought all was deep and serious in New Zealand, The Batchelor is back.
The Batchelor. It's hit again.
No.
If people love The Batchelor, New Zealand, why? It must attract people. Anyway, there's this geezer called Jordan.
Yeah.
He's 32 years of age. He's the Batchelor this time round. He replaces the last time we kind of endured this type of thing was a guy called Art. Made all sorts of clunky kind of mistakes, and it was terribly cheesy. But anyway, this guy, he's got a clean slate here to make a decent go of it. Jordan Morga, his name is, 32 years of age, occupation, film and TV production, so that sounds very cozy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And he lives in between Auckland and Christchurch, and it says that he grew up in Christchurch with two younger siblings. His father owns and runs a large contracting company that his grandfather set up, and his mother is a dental nurse in Kapiti. Jordan divides his time between his houses in Greyland, which is a suburb in Auckland near Ponsonby there, and Christchurch. Apparently he's doing all right as far as the money's concerned. That might be an extra attraction as well, Peter, perhaps. And there's a host of women that have lined up here. It looks like, Peter, I've obviously missed a few episodes here because we're already up to episode 2, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bachelorettes.
Yeah.
That have already been greyed out, meaning that they're not in contention. So
okay.
So I'm sorry, listeners, I'm just not up to speed with that one. But there's a lot of controversy that is starting to show with the ones. In particular, I noticed that the media, the mainstream newspaper media, were getting back into this woman called Naz, and really suggesting that she was something else. So, poor old Naz, she's 25 years of age. If you want to know her height, she's 164 centimetres tall. She comes from Hamilton and Oran, and she works as a landscaper in Christchurch. So comes from the same place. Maybe they know each other.
Maybe they know each other.
Maybe that's why the controversy was there.
Yeah.
Certainly for one of the episodes, they had last year's bachelorettes, mostly all the ones that basically were, pipped at the post type of thing, shoved out of the road, and they were all there watching the new episodes, and there's photographs that people want to see the shock and horror looks on their faces. So there you go, Bachelor is back with a man called, this guy called, I've forgotten already.
Yeah, all I recall is you called him a geezer, which I thought, now there's a word that needs to come back. Geezer.
Geezer, yes, this geezer called Jordan. People, good old Jordan, he's having a go, isn't he? Putting his name
that's
out
it.
there.
That's right. We shouldn't criticise him for that, but
He's obviously got some charm. He's got some, coin in the back pocket and some smarts by the sound of it, so there you go.
There we go. And I'm sure it'll be a rating success in New Zealand, just as our version of it usually is here, for goodness knows what reason, but there you go. Maybe just head to the Evening Report website and watch Clark and Dorr. That might be better.
Yeah. See, maybe it's us blokes, Peter,
Well, maybe it is. We're just too cynical.
Shy away from
That's right. All right, so have a great week. Enjoy the next episode of The Bachelor or whatever you choose to watch. We'll catch you next week again.
Okay, Peter.
Thanks, Selwyn. Bye-bye. Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz. News coming up with Matthew Pantelis, then back with more of your calls here at 5AA 822 30000.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Rain easing to showers this morning and a top of 31. It's 5:30. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis. The rain has been falling across Adelaide with no let-up. There's been reports of heavy falls in the mid-north overnight and water over roads around Adelaide, and we've had 18 mils of rain overnight in the city so far. SA Health